I'm really excited to be discussing today's topic and chatting with you. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. It's a very, very interesting topic, and it took me a bit of a while to gather my thoughts, but here we are. So we're going to be looking at different aspects, from how you can best position yourself to connect with your destiny helpers. And then I'm also going to be talking about my own life as relates to this topic, and a lot of things in between. So you're not going to want to miss today's episode. It's going to be very, very interesting. So grab a bite, something to drink, sit down, relax, and enjoy. Remember to watch to the end, to like this video, to comment, to share, and to subscribe. Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. It's lovely of you to be with me. So today is going to be an exciting time, and we'll be discussing destiny helpers. And I always like to start off by looking at the definition, of any terminology that we're using. So we're going to look at destiny, and then we're going to look at helpers, and then we're going to join them and find out what we mean when we're saying destiny helpers. So when you look up destiny, this is how it's defined. A future someone will have as planned and determined by God. So of course God will come into the definition, because the manufacturer of a product knows what its intended use is. They know what they want its destination to be, or its destiny. So God made us, so He's the one who best knows what our destiny is. And then let's look at helper. So a helper is somebody who helps, or gives aid, or assists, or facilitates, or plays some sort of role. They don't actually do everything. They assist the person who's doing something. Then let's put the two words together. Destiny helpers are people who are divinely and strategically positioned to help you arrive at your expected end. Now, I just wanted to say that the term destiny helpers is not actually in the Bible. But when we look at the various roles that people played, their part in assisting people to be able to accomplish something that God wanted them to accomplish, their purpose, their reason for being, their destiny, we can describe them as that. And that is where the phrase was coined, after looking at that element. And I just wanted to say, our biggest help comes from God. He is our biggest contact, our biggest connection. And people sometimes say, oh, I don't know, I'm not well connected. I don't have any contacts. I don't know people in high places. We need to change our mindset. We have got the biggest contact of all, and that's God. The biggest connection we could ever want. And so we need to not feel intimidated when we go into spaces or offices that we don't know anyone. We must know that we do know someone, and that person is God. He's the biggest connection we could ever want, the one who sits in the highest places of all. So I want us to look at a few scriptures, and these scriptures will confirm and show and demonstrate that indeed God is our biggest help. He is our ultimate help, and He does dispatch help through people, but those people are means. Destiny helpers are a means, but the source is always, always God. The first one is Psalm 121, one of my favorites. These are one of the Psalms that I pray, one of the scriptures that I pray over my family and myself on a daily basis. And it goes, I look to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Then let's read a few others. Psalms 46, verse 1. God is our refuge and strength, and ever-present help in trouble. And then John 14:26. But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, He will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance all things that I said to you. And this is the New King James Version. I like this version for this particular verse because it uses the word helper with a capital H. Other versions may also use other terms like advocate. So now maybe you're asking yourself, so okay, fine. If God is our source of help, then why does he need people? Why does he need destiny helpers? Why doesn't he just do things himself? Well, it's not in his nature to do that. Even right from the beginning, we see when we hear the story of creation that he created Adam, and he even delegated to him that you name the animals, you tend the garden, you do this, you do that. So God wants people to be involved in the affairs of the earth. He wants to delegate responsibility to them. He wants to use them. He wants them to be, a means, an instrument, a vehicle to be used. Some things he does do directly, but there are a lot of things that he wants us here, who are his hands and feet, because he's spirit. He wants us here to be able to do something that he instructs us to do. So, and also, there's that commandment, the second one. The first one is love the Lord your God with all your heart and mind and strength and soul. Then the second one is love other people. So one way to demonstrate loving people is to actually assist them, because love cannot just end at being a feeling and something that you feel inside. You have to, it's a doing word. Love is a doing word. So one of the ways that you can love people, which is an instruction, a command from God, is by actually being instrumental in helping other people. I want to now talk about how you can position yourself well to be able to connect and, to get that assistance from your destiny helper. Now, I'm not saying, first of all, what I'm going to mention is not an exhaustive list. It's just some ideas and thoughts that I have. But it doesn't mean that if you don't do these things that you will not connect with your destiny helper. I'm just saying these things will assist you to best position yourself. And how that looks like, it will differ. It might accelerate you connecting with your destiny helper. You might be able to recognize them better, or another element. And it's not to say, obviously, if you don't do these things, you're not going to connect with them. And if you do all of them, that you are going to connect with them. Not necessarily. There are probably other things that are involved. But I believe these things will actually help us to be in a good position, to connect with our destiny helpers. So let me start with the first one. And just to say also, God knows how to get the help to you. There's a saying that goes, do your best, and then let God do the rest. And so this is the part of do your best. This is part of doing your best. Like, these are some of the things that are involved. So the first one is be good to all. So I'm going to start off with a quote. So being good to all is the same as maybe respecting everybody and being kind to all. There's a quote that goes like this: disrespect will close doors that apologies can't open. Be careful how you treat people you think you don't need. And I think everybody might be guilty of this, to some extent. You mustn't treat anybody badly. Treat people the same, nicely, respect them. I'm not saying being best friends with everybody. That's not what I mean. People sometimes have a tendency, some people, of just looking down on some people, or just treating them badly, or just saying, oh, I'll never need this person. So here I'm speaking to relatives, I'm speaking to colleagues, I'm speaking to strangers, acquaintances, people who work for you. All these people that I'm talking about, you can't afford to really rebuff them and to really show that this one I like, this one I don't like. And just be respectful and be good to all, be friendly. Yes, you will have your close people, and I'm going to talk about that just now, but you need to be kind and respectful to people, because you don't know. First of all, that's what God would want, but also secondly, you don't know who's going to be your destiny helpers, because they don't come with a label here, written destiny helper. And we might not ever get to know all our destiny helpers. Some we will get to know, some we'll see when we look in hindsight, but you can't always know who's going to help you, or who's going to help your children one day. So don't treat people badly that you think, this one I don't need them. I don't need to pay attention to them, or I can just ignore them. Be very, very careful of that kind of thing, because sometimes those people are your destiny helpers in one form or another, and I'll talk about that a little later. And then, before I move to the next point, I want to talk about, for example, you don't know whether, maybe you say I don't talk to security guards, or you look down at them, but you don't know, you might get talking to one, just being friendly, and he might tell you something, where you've just gone there maybe for an interview or something. He might just tell you something that could be a game changer for you. So don't treat everyone the same, whether they're God or somebody that you deem that you don't need to talk to, or the CEO. You need to treat everybody the same. So the second point, the first one, okay, so be good to all. The second one is being cognizant of the company you keep, being selective in the company that you keep. And here I'm talking more about your inner circle. So first of all, you need to know and to be able to distinguish and discern as you go throughout your life who should be in your inner circle, and then who maybe you keep at arm's length, then who should be in your outer circle, and then some people you don't even need in your life, like you've no business really being friends with those people. And I'm not talking about burning bridges, no, I'm just saying you must know which people to keep close and which people to keep a bit further. Now, the people you keep closest, I believe those people God will have allowed in your life, and those, a lot of them actually your destiny helpers. They're not all your destiny helpers, but I believe the ones you walk with, the ones who are closest, and they should just be a handful of people. You don't need a whole crowd. Now, those people, they need to be people who support you. They need to be people who are your cheerleaders, people who encourage you. And some of these things, you can see that they are priceless. They're not to do with money. I'll talk about that later, because those are some of the things that will help you to fulfill your destiny. People who are there for you, they don't have to have all these qualities, but they could have some of them, or together when you look at the different people close to you, they could combine to have these qualities. They could be people maybe who pray with you, or they pray for you. Someone you know that if I ask them to pray for me, they'll pray for me. I'll just tell them, please don't tell anyone about this. I need someone to cover me in prayer. There could be friends like that. There can be people who, like the saying goes, if they hear an opportunity when you're not there, they can identify to say, no, you know what, I want to tell. Like maybe if it's a destiny helper for me, could say, oh, I know Tsungi is interested in this. Let me take this number down. I'm going to tell her about this. Wow, I can't wait. This is a wonderful opportunity. Of course, we must be the same for other people as well. It's not just one way, and I will talk about that later. So we need people who, they want what's best for us. Basically, that's what I'm saying. They vocalize their support for us. They are there for us. Because we're not islands, we can't do life alone. And sometimes you need those people for moral support and for different help that they can give you. So as opposed to people maybe your father feel they may not be able to do that, and you need to be the same for other people. So if you find people like that, I'm telling you, those people are extremely rare. Maybe you'll have one, maybe you'll have a bit more. Hold on to them. Do not let go of those people. They'll give you support that you will probably never be able to find later in life or from other people. Hold on to people like that. They are very, very rare. Company you don't need are people who, so if you can have a destiny helper, you can surely also have a destiny killer or destiny destroyer. You don't need those kind of people around you. These people are probably people, they don't support you. They never cheer for you. They're always competing with you, and maybe they're jealous of you. And sometimes you get to see over time that this is what this person is actually like, and then those kind of people you need to actually drop, and they shouldn't be near you. I'm just thinking of also when I was much younger. I used to think that it was so cool to have a lot of friends. Yeah, that the goal was to get as many friends as you can when I was much, much younger. And I realized with time and as I got older that no. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. You only need just a few. You need to be selective and choose a few people, a few friends, the ones who are really in your inner circle. And qualities are all those things that I was talking about. People who really, they're an asset to your life, and they'll help you to get you to where you're supposed to. They may not be able to give you everything, but there's an element that will be indispensable to you that you see in these people. And these kind of people also, they see sometimes things in you, gifts in you, something good in you that you don't even see yourself. So they bring out the best in you as well. So those are the kind of people, that's the kind of company you need to keep, because that can help you to connect with your destiny helpers, because they might be your destiny helpers. So be very, very selective when it comes to friends. And then I also like the saying, I wrote this down. There's a saying that says, raise up people who will advocate for me in rooms that I'm not yet in. It's kind of similar to what I mentioned before, that there's an opportunity that I'm going to say, I'm going to tell my friend, I need to tell them about that. And then humility is the third point. So the first point is being good to all. Second one, company you keep, be very careful and very selective. And the third one is be humble. Just be a humble person. You know, there's nothing as off-putting as pride. Someone who's always bragging, someone who's full of themselves, someone who's conceited, someone who's egocentric. Everything's about them. Do you know that that really puts off people? And that can put off even destiny helpers who are like, you know what, I was going to help this person, but no, let somebody else help them. So pride actually repels help, whereas humility attracts. It actually attracts help. So we need to be careful about that. And it's something that we're called to do anyway, just not even related to destiny helpers, but just in our lives, we're called to be people who are humble. And then the fourth one, we need to be discerning. We need to be able to discern that I think this is my destiny helper. So you don't want later on in life to say, but God, I've been asking for my destiny helper. Where's my destiny helper for this? And you don't want God to say to you, I sent you, and you didn't recognize them. Or you didn't want the one that I sent you. So we need to be discerning. And that leads me to the next point, actually. So people who sometimes are sent to us as destiny helpers, sometimes they're the most seemingly insignificant people, or people where we don't think they fit the description of a destiny helper. And it's not always a person who's wearing a suit with lots of money. In fact, most times it's not a person like that. Sometimes what we need is closer than what we think. Yeah, so just remember that help is packaged differently. So the next point is being prayerful. Why I'm saying that is because you need to be prayerful so that you rightly discern. Because discernment comes from God. And somebody sent me this prayer. It was a collection of prayers, but one of them, and this one was for discernment, and they said this is a good prayer to pray. Lord, give me the discernment to identify the people I should connect with. You know, when you pray that, and you might forget about it, but then you look later in your life and you're like, I prayed for this. So you need to pray, and you need to be discerning. You need to pray, and you need to be discerning. Then I've lumped the next ones together under good attitude. And obviously, this is not exhaustive. These are some of the traits that you need to have. And they will help to position you, to connect with your destiny helper. So being proactive, or thinking like, what can I do? What part can I play? Being responsive. Being responsive when you're called to do something, and some action is required of you, do it. Don't leave no stone unturned. Do your part. Then being courageous. This is quite a big one, and it's not always easy. Sometimes you have to actually pray for God to give you courage. So sometimes you have to be courageous, and you have to knock on some doors and just go out there. And sometimes that's how you get your help, meet your destiny helper. Sometimes you actually have to have that boldness to go out and confidence to go out and search for your destiny helper, or go with that proposal to somebody, or phone someone, or do something. That's a courageous act. And then being expectant. Now, for this is the kind of the picture that I was getting. Like when you're at home and you're expecting somebody to come, you're kind of going to be on standby, isn't it? And you're going to be like, yeah, let me reduce the volume, and they might ring, they might press the electric gate, or they might hoot, or whatever. So you'll be like expecting any moment now something's going to happen. You've got that kind of excitement and attitude, and you're not just going to go and sleep, and stuff, or you're not going to play loud music, and you're like, because you may not hear them, or they might even call you on your mobile and you won't hear them. So that's an expectant attitude. It's different from someone who's like, oh, well, I don't know, if they need to get hold of me, they'll get hold of me, and you do nothing to kind of make it easier for them to, like, if they hoot, will I hear them? Let me reduce the volume. You just leave it on loud, or you go to sleep and all that. So that's not being expectant. So you need to live a life where you're expecting things in certain areas. You're expecting help, you're expecting to be assisted, you're doing other things, which I'm going to talk about now. But you are in an expectant mode, I think that's a good thing. And then this one is a huge one, massive one. This is working hard. There's no substitute for hard work. I think that sums up everything that I'm going to say under this point. There is no substitute for hard work. You have to work hard. So lazy people, they don't attract help. They actually repel help, and hard work actually attracts help. So there's a saying that goes, work as though it depended on you. Work so hard as though everything depended on you. And then pray so hard as though everything depends on God. So that's the best of both worlds. You're doing what you can, and you're going to leave the rest to God, isn't it? I'm going to paraphrase this quote by Chris Rock, but I think I'll try and put it down maybe exactly as it is on the video. So Chris Rock, there's this quote where, and it was showing a picture of a highway, and I think a car was broken down, and he was saying that, like I found that when my car broke down once, and I tried to flag, like to say, please stop and help me, so, to get it going. And he said all the cars kept going. They just kept passing and passing. And then he decided to try and push his car. So the moment he tried to start pushing his car, guess what happened? People started stopping. And he says that people like it when they see that you are doing something. You're trying, you're working at it. So if you need help, help yourself. And then the other people will come. They like that. They like to see someone doing something about the situation. Then they'll come along and help you. So I found that quite interesting. And I just wanted to read some scriptures, because working hard is very biblical. I don't know whether to say contrary to popular belief, because there's nowhere in the Word of God where it condones being lazy and not working and just saying things are it's just gonna come. You don't have to do anything. Just fold your hands and watch. There's nowhere where it says that. You have to work hard. So let's start off with Proverbs 14:23. It says here, all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. And then Proverbs 22:29 says, do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. And then the last one, Psalms 90:17. There are many others, but I just selected these three. Psalms 90:17. May the favor of the Lord our God rest on us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. So if it's talking about the work of our hands, it means you're doing something, isn't it? You're working with your hands. And then you ask God to bless that. You ask God to establish that, because you can't be doing nothing. You have to be working. You have to be working hard. And God will come in, He'll step in, and He'll bless the work of your hands. I'm going to have some water. Okay, so now I just want to talk about some examples, some types of help that you can get. And these are not exhaustive again. I just try to think of different examples of the kind of help you can get, or the types of destiny helpers. So just want to start off by saying help is not always in the form of money. And you'll see why I'm saying that just now. Yes, money is one way that some people can help you, that some destiny helpers step in your life to help you with. But it's not always about money. So one of the things that I put here was advice. Advice is amazing. If you get the right advice, it can change your life. And bad advice can also change your life. So you need to discern the good advice, bad advice. But it also, it also goes back to the people you connect with. Are they giving you good advice or not? I did a video on, and I called it A Closer Look at Advice. It's season 3, I think it's episode 10. Look that up, and I went into detail about the kind of advice that people give you and how you can tell this is good, this is bad. I think that will be quite useful. So advice is one way, that one form of help you can get. A destiny helper can come in with good advice, and this can be formal, it can be a lawyer, it can be, maybe you work somewhere where you get advisory services, or it can be just somebody in your life. It can be your friends, it can be people that you interact with that can give you advice. It could be good advice. Obviously you reject the bad advice, but good advice can really make a difference into your destiny if you take that advice. Then I was thinking of actually dividing the advice up. Sometimes you can look at it like this. There's the soul, the spirit, the soul, and the body. And in the spirit realm, you have your pastors, so they can give you spiritual advice. In the soul, you've got your psychologist, but don't just go to any, hey? Pray for God to lead you to the psychologist, the right psychologist. They can give you advice that can change your life, that can be life-changing and help you with your destiny. And then also physically, there's your medical doctors that can help you also with some advice for you and things to do with the body, all things body. There's a whole host of other professions and other people, but I was just broadly saying you can look at it like that. And then it could just be advice. People don't have to be professionals. They can just be, like I said, people in your life that give you advice. People you depend on, that this person or this friend, they give me sound advice. And then people can give you contacts. They can give you referrals. They can open up opportunities for you, use their networks. And I just want to say something about this. Sometimes the positions we have, the influence that we have, it's not always about us, and that it's about me and I'm here. Sometimes it sounds good, but sometimes you're also there to be able to assist other people, to use your networks to connect other people to their destinies. So that's something to think about, So referrals, connecting people, giving people references, those people can be your destiny helpers, some of those people. And then people who pray for you. I mentioned pastors, but I also want to say you don't have to be a pastor to pray for somebody. This is where I was talking about the company you keep. You could have somebody who, they intercede for you, they pray for you, including friends, including family. They can help you with your destiny to push certain things through. Those are one kind of help you can get, and it's huge. Praying, you should never underestimate the power of prayer. So you need people who also are prayerful in your life. It's so important. It can help you, when you want to submit something, just to cover you, your family, and certain things, so that you reach your destiny and you become everything that God intended you to become. And another thing is an encourager. There's some people who naturally encourage people, or it's a gift, because they do it to a larger extent than other people, or even just people who do it even to some extent. Those are the kind of people you need around you. Do you know that some people may have everything? They may have money, they may have opportunity, they may have this, they may have the audience, they may have the contacts, but they may not have the confidence, and they need somebody to help them, to encourage them, or they need someone to encourage them to go to the next level, to say, keep going, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. You need those kind of people to encourage you, to say, no, it's not as bad as it looks, or let me help you. Let's read this out. Let's practice for your interview. You need people like that. And those are destiny helpers. And here you can see we're not even talking about money. We're talking about the way people are that are in your circles, and they can help you. And then, of course, you can have strangers, other people who are not close, who come into your life for a season and go, and they do some of those things. They have a word for you, or something, some sort of affirmation, or something that really changes the way you're doing things, or that encourages you in the way you're going anyway, and help you to reach your destiny. The point is to help you to get to your destiny, to help you to get to where you're supposed to fulfill your God-given potential. And then you also have people who help shape your character. There's a saying that goes, your character will take you where your talent can't. Talent is good, but it has its limitations. You can be average and be of excellent character and get somewhere to a higher level than somebody who's brilliant, they're talented, but their character is not so good. They can actually sabotage themselves because of their character. So sometimes people will bring in destiny helpers that will help shape your character. That, again, is also to do with people who you surround yourself with. There can be people God puts in your life, destiny helpers who help you to be more patient. Maybe that's what you need. Maybe you're an impatient person. They can help you to have self-control with time. They help you with that. They can help you to be a more humble person. We talked about that earlier. So different elements of your character. Being of good character is actually an important thing. So sometimes those are the kind of destiny helpers that you need to help you to get to where you're supposed to, or to maximize on things in your life. And then you also do need money. Let me touch on that. Can't ignore that totally. So we'll take extremes here. You may need a destiny helper who can facilitate or give you money that you need, maybe for a startup or for a project. But also, there might be someone who needs money, to get onto a lift, so that they can go to a job interview. And if they get that job will set them towards their destiny. So you can see, it is sometimes about money and sometimes about different elements of money. So those are two examples that I was just thinking of. I also wanted to just add that, sometimes destiny helpers, they'll tell you the truth in love. You need people who, you do need people who encourage you and support you and so on, but you don't need people who won't tell you the truth, or they'll lie to you, or they'll tone down certain things. You need people, loving people, friends who also tell you the truth in love. And that might help change your mindset and help you see certain things, or help you change certain things in your life. Those people are important, because that can actually help you not to be derailed and to kind of recalibrate and keep going, or it can help you to go on a certain angle that you were supposed to go on to. So you need people who tell you the truth in love. Those also, that's another way that you can get help. But remember, it should be in love. You can't just say, as long as I've said it, kind of thing, because people won't always receive it. Yeah, so that's important to have those kind of destiny helpers. There's different ones. People need different kinds of destiny helpers. We don't all need the same types of destiny helpers. So I've talked a lot about people helping us, okay? This was all with people. You need those kind of people. We need those kind of people. But what about if we flip the coin? How about us? Have you ever thought about that? That you might be a destiny helper for somebody else. At some point in your life, I believe every single person, to some extent, depending on the sphere of influence God has given you, and the space you're in, I believe God would want to help, to use each of us to help other people in some way, in different ways. We saw all the different examples I gave. We can't be all things to all men, of course not, but I believe there's some way that we can assist people. So I want to look at what if that doesn't happen? Okay, what if your destiny helper doesn't do what they're supposed to do and help you? Or what if you are also disobedient and you don't do what God is telling you to do and to help somebody with their destiny? What then? Let's take an example from the Bible. So yeah, so sometimes destiny helpers just decide not to help for whatever reason, and we're going to look at that after this example. I'm going to go to Esther 4, but I want to give a bit of background here. So Esther was the queen, and she was Jewish, but at the time, it was a secret. Nobody knew except her uncle Mordecai. Now, there had been like an evil scheme by somebody quite high up in the kingdom, and they wanted the Jews annihilated. And they had planned this, and it was going according to plan. So Mordecai, Queen Esther's uncle, said to her, sent a message saying, please do something about this, because he knew that she should be able to do something. And she basically said that, I don't know, hey, because I haven't talked to the king for quite a while, and we can't just go and talk to the king. He hasn't sent for me for a while. So she was kind of saying I might be killed. I can't just pitch up. I don't know if I can do anything right now. And so listen to this from verse 12. So Esther 4. Verse 12 to 14, when Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. So, to cut the long story short, Esther, in the end, she fasted, she prayed, and she approached the king, and she managed to get help for the Jews, and they were saved. But just to say, from what I read just now, that can you see that sometimes if you don't help someone, God will use somebody else. He's very capable of doing that. And then also to say, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes the privileged position you're in or the position you're in is strategic, so that you can help certain people. It's not just for you, yourself, and you. It's also so that you can be used to help other people. So you need to consider that. Sometimes God will insist on using you, like He did with Jonah. He tried to run away, and God was on his case until he did what God wanted him to do. He was supposed to be a destined helper for the city of Nineveh and deliver a message to them. And he didn't want to because he thought these people were just too wicked, and kind of was like judging him to say, no, these people know. But God wanted to show His mercy in this whole story. And He said, Jonah, you're the one. You have to go and do this. So sometimes you can't run away from being the destiny helper for a certain cause. Sometimes God can use somebody else and will use somebody else. It just depends, hey? And so now I want to look at reasons why. Maybe why people might not want to be obedient and be destiny helpers when it is clear that they're supposed to. In Esther's case, I think in a way it was kind of genuine because she was kind of scared. It wasn't like she didn't want to help. She was kind of scared for her life, though her uncle viewed it as an excuse. But yeah, I guess in the end she helped. But some people have other reasons. So what kind of reasons are there? So some people just don't want to help. They just don't want to. They don't see why they should. It's just apathy. Then some people are of the opinion, well, somebody else can help them. And then some people are like, no, what if I help them and they end up doing better than me, and that kind of thing. It's almost like competition, kind of jealous kind of spirit. And then another reason, we just mentioned it now when we're talking about Jonah, judging people to say they don't deserve it. I'm not going to help them to get to there because they don't deserve it. So that's kind of judging. And I'm going to give another example from the New Testament a bit later. But I just wanted to say about that, it's quite a sensitive thing, I guess, but you know, sometimes there's an unhealthy level of competition. There's so many sayings about this that, you know, there's enough sunshine for all of us. We can all shine. We can all do well. It's okay. Even in the same field, it's okay. And also, there's another saying that I saw that said, the sky would be awfully dark with just one star. So we can all be stars, shining forth there. And then also another one that I read that goes, you blowing out someone else's candle, will not make your candle shine brighter. So why do that? If you're not going to help someone and you know you could and you know you're supposed to, ask yourself why. Why wouldn't you help them? Why wouldn't you help them? And I'm sure if you turned the tables and someone wouldn't help you for whatever you're meant to do, imagine if you found out, you'd be like, but why wouldn't they help me? I'm just also trying to reach my destiny. Why wouldn't my destiny helper be obedient? Why wouldn't they? And then there's a scripture as well that talks about he who refreshes other people will be refreshed. And it's not always by the same people, of course. Not necessarily. In fact, a lot of times the person you help may not be the person who helps you or refreshes you. Because I think helping people is a type of, of refreshing. And then another verse I'd like to read is Proverbs 3, verses 27 to 28. And it reads, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in your power to act. Do not say to your neighbor, come back tomorrow and I'll give it to you, when you already have it with you. So if you can help someone now, do it now. Don't postpone, don't procrastinate. If you can help someone in some way, do it. Just like you would want that done for you. You'd want that done for you. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my life, like I said, like I promised earlier, a little bit. So, in 2020, about May, just after the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic started, someone referred me to a course, an online course, which was being done. Because those days, that's when all the online kind of stuff really reached another level. And it was called Talking on TV. So I did this course, and wow, it was life-changing. And you'll see why now. I did this course, and the person who was doing it was Chipoma Shingaidze. I know she won't mind me mentioning her. She's a public figure anyway. She's like a communications expert. She was on TV for more than 20 years, on local TV, I think, reading the news and other things. And so she was the one who was running this course online. And I did it. And then at the end, we had to do like an assignment, an audio, like, to put into practice some of the tips we had gotten on communication. And we did. And then the last assignment was a 2-minute video. And she said, well, you can choose any topic that you're passionate about. I guess that meant it was going to be easier to come up with something to talk about. So for me, I chose purpose. And I'm very passionate about purpose because it took me a long time to discover my purpose, my reason for being, why God created me, what He wants me to do while I'm on this earth. It took me a very long time. But once I found out, I ran with it, and I'm running with it. So I'm passionate about that and trying to help other people, just also sharing what I've learned and what I've experienced in my own life, and trying to help other people as well. So that's what I talked about. So when I was done and I submitted my assignment, so we would then wait for feedback. She'd put feedback, I think, it was on the WhatsApp group, and she gave us some tips, technical tips. And then to me, she says, you're a natural. So I was kind of like, to myself, I was like, what? And she said, you're a natural. And what she meant was, you're a natural when it comes to visual media and talking, using visual media. And I'm telling you, that really like, wow, that wowed me. I was like, I couldn't believe it that someone would say that to me. And that's because, I think because of the person that I am, my background. I know some people here are going to say like, really? But I am naturally very, very shy. Naturally. I'm saying naturally because now I've had to learn to adapt and because of what God has called me to do. But I'm naturally very shy. I'm an introvert that can just be on my own. And I'm not like very much like out there. That's not the natural me. And I was not like that even during school days. I never used to do things like debate. I never used to do drama. And if we had to do drama, I would take a role where I didn't have to speak. I didn't want to be in front of people, and I was just more behind the scenes. So even when I started writing and I was running with that and felt that's what God wanted me to do, which I still do, I was so happy because writing was like very behind the scenes. You can just leave me for hours at home, just me and my pen or my iPad and just writing. That's my comfort zone. I was so happy just being behind the scenes. Even at church, I was always like, I'll volunteer for something that is not in the forefront behind. So for me to be told that you're a natural to something that requires me to be out there, and because we had to also share that video with other people and so on, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. It really, I think it gave me the confidence, really. That's what I'm trying to say. It gave me the confidence, those words, to sort of like explore options, and what I could do in the future. And what I'm saying is she was a destiny helper. Kudos to you. Thank you for that. Chipo, I'll make sure I tag you in this video. Thank you once again for that, because that really changed my life in more ways than one, I believe. So those were words of affirmation, or should I say words of destiny. So that's another way that a destiny helper can make a difference to someone's life, by the words they speak. The word talks about there's power, in our tongues. They can bring life, they can bring death. And she spoke life into me. So it's the same if you tell someone that, oh, no, that's not for you, you're no good. And no, that's not, that can actually get to someone and they'll never try what they wanted to try. So you need people around you. Or you expose yourself to situations where people will speak life and they'll rightfully see, or they'll see something. She saw something in me which I didn't even see. And nobody close to me had seen that. They hadn't seen that that's something I could do. So I was so, really blown away. And what I then did is that video that I used for my assignment, I then posted it on Facebook on my page. And it did very well. And guess what? That's the video that I used as my first one on my channel. I then thought, you know what, maybe because I've got so much on my heart, I write so many things, but not everybody reads. What about if I prayed about this, what if I do a channel? And I'll talk about this more in season 4. So watch the space where I'm going to share my life testimony and also specific testimonies. I'll talk about this in much, much greater detail. So I decided to do I believed that's what God wanted me to do my YouTube channel. And that was my first video. And then I went on to do a series on purpose, different things, the tools God gives us, how to be able to know what our purpose is, all that kind of thing. So that was my first video. So what I'm saying is, destiny helpers, I've seen it in my own life that they do make a difference. And she was at that point a destiny helper to me. And the other lady who had referred me to the course also to some extent was a destiny helper, because I hadn't seen that course anyway. She's the one who told me about it, and I decided to do it. So it's something that's really, when I look back, I'm so grateful to God for using Chipo for helping me, to go in a certain direction with a part of my life. I'm so grateful, and I know that all of you who are watching, you can give numerous examples where you've helped people, significantly to be able to move towards their destiny, and also you've been helped. So those are the things that sometimes testimonies, are made of. So it's exciting to know that it's two ways. It's not always just about us getting the help. We also are used by God to help other people. Then let's look at some biblical examples as we now wind off. I'm not going to go into detail, hey? I'm going to probably just put the scripture references, and you can read the whole story for these people, where people were destiny helpers in the Word of God, numerous throughout the whole Bible. There's so many examples. So I'll mention a few from the Old Testament and then from the New Testament. And just to say, some people are destiny helpers for a specific person. then some for a group of people, then some can be even for a nation, depending on what God wants you to do on this earth, your purpose. It depends. God gives people different spheres of influence. So you find that was the same here. You'll be able to sort of like look at these examples that I'm mentioning, and you can see for yourself, okay, this was for a nation, this one was for one person, this was just for a group of people. So the first one is Esther. We talked about Queen Esther. She was a destiny helper to the Jews, the Jewish nation. And then Nehemiah was a cupbearer to the king. And that was his destiny helper at that point, because he allowed him to go and rebuild the broken wall of Jerusalem. There are numerous men and women of God throughout the Old Testament, prophets who gave warnings, rebukes, and so forth, that help people to then strategize and have good direction. Or he actually gave them the strategy and direction and what God was saying. And if they heeded, that changed the destiny for the better. If they didn't, unfortunately it's for them, that destroyed their destiny. Then Moses, he was a destiny helper for the children of Israel. He led them out of Israel, and then he went, to the Red Sea, parted it, and they crossed. And here I just want to mention something. Remember, I talked earlier about how God doesn't do everything himself. He could have just said, Red Sea, part. But he didn't. He said to Moses, why are you crying out to me? Do something about it. Take your stuff and open the Red Sea. And he did. And they crossed over. And then Paul, I'll say Saul because he was Saul before he converted to Paul. Saul was blinded on the Damascus road on his way to Damascus, and he was blinded, and he became a Christian. But while he was blind, just for a few days, and he was praying, I wanted you to take note of this, he was praying. So that's interesting because we did mention that is something that can help you to connect with your destiny helper. God spoke to Ananias, a Christian in that city, and said, go and lay hands on him so that he can see. And Ananias was like, but this person is been persecuting Christians and all that and stuff. Of course, God knew all that, but he said, that's my chosen vessel, go and do it. So he went and laid hands, and he could then see, Saul could then see, and he became Paul. But you can see there that he was judging, saying, this person is a non-starter, but God said, that's the person that I want to use. And then John and Peter, when they were going towards the temple courts, there was a crippled man that was by the roadside, and he was asking them for money. And they actually said, money we don't have, but what we have, we give you, get up and walk, in the name of Jesus. So the cripple got healed, and he was able to walk. Now, this is interesting because he wanted money, but he got something bigger than money. So sometimes destiny helpers come and give you what God knows you need, not necessarily what you think you need. If they had given him money, it would have been okay, but for a while, and then he would have kept begging, and he'd been begging, I think, either from birth, I can't remember, or for a very long time, from birth, I think. So he had been begging for a long time. But God knew what he needed was not money. He needed something bigger than money, which was what? Healing. And sometimes God will surround you with people who give you things that you don't even know you need, till you get to know them for a while, and you'll be like, okay, that's why God brought this person into my life. So that's discernment again. So I just want to finish off by saying, we talked about God being your biggest help. Now God sent his son, Jesus Christ, here on earth, God in the form of man. And he is the biggest destiny helper, potentially. I say potentially because that now depends on you, on whether you will receive him into your heart as your Lord and personal Savior. Because if you will, he will change your eternal destiny forever. You will know that one day you can live with him in eternity. 1. 2, while you're here on earth, he will help you to calibrate and change the trajectory of your life, or refine what you're supposed to be doing, and you will know that, okay, I'm definitely on the right destiny. This is what my God-given purpose is. This is why he created me. And you need God to walk with you. You need Jesus to walk with you to help you to do that. So let's read Romans 10:9, which says, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. And if you do that, then you've accepted him as your biggest destiny helper. So on that note, we are done for today, and I'm really hoping that today you were really blessed and you have something to think about, and that was an exciting episode for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and your week ahead. Bye-bye.